So we'll go ahead and get started. The last people coming in, or stay on schedule. So I'm not Jen Adams. I know it says that on the so I'm not Jen Adams. She has been sick. She really wanted to be here. She, put this all together. Me and her actually talked, and Lisa talked about this, but she couldn't make it because of illness. So she wanted to be here. So get that out of the way. My name's Keith, not Jen. So, all right. So I'll introduce myself. I'm Keith Swank. I'm the RESEA team lead. So my team is all sitting right here, a whole bunch of them. There's 18 of us total. So we do RESEA appointments virtually. We all work remotely from home, and we handle those RESEA appointments. So tell a little bit of background about that. I say there's 18 of us. That's crazy. In 2020, I guess it was, we started. Basically, I worked from home remotely doing RESEAs because Julie Carter and Jerry Bowles had this vision of wanting to do RESEAs, and COVID was going on and other states stopped doing RESEAs. They were stopped doing it because of COVID. We wanted to continue it in the state of Missouri, so they had a vision to do that. In June of 2021, there were 6 positions opened up statewide remotely to do those positions. And I was hired, and some of the team members that are still here were hired to that original 6. Then a year later, in 2022, they had a team lead position and 5 more people added on that team. And we just kept adding and kept growing, and we're continue to grow even still today. We're still growing. We have openings right now even. So we have done nothing but grow because of these people right here. They do an amazing job. Everybody here does 18 appointments a week. So they do 18 RESEAs a week. They do 4 a day, Monday through Thursday, and 2 on Fridays, with Fridays being their reschedule time, follow-ups, job notifications, breathe, get ready for the next week, basically. So they do a lot of hard work, a lot of hard work. With that, we also have assistance from Jerry Bowles and Julie Carter as a support of mine for the team. But we also have the DES side of the house. We have Jen Adams and we have Lisa Ferret. I'll let her introduce herself.
Thank you. I'm kind of just winging it today, honestly. I'm replacing Jen. I'm Jen's other half, but was not prepared to really speak or have anything, but I knew that the majority was going to be about Keith and his team, and I told him on the way out when I went to the restroom, he's got the most awesome team. They know what they're doing, they do it, they're always in a great mood, they have great questions. You guys do an amazing, amazing job. So, kudos to you. So as RESEA and what I do, I'm kind of the fixer. If they have issues, if they have questions, if someone does something or has to reconsider, any of that, that's what I do. So, and it's so nice to be here with you guys, putting a lot of faces with names. Because I get your emails and I take care of it, but I never get faces usually. So that's really good to be here for that. I do appreciate that. But as far as what RESEA is and does, they're the main ones. They help them get jobs. They're our faces for us and helping them get jobs. Whatever they need, putting resumes together, any of those things. And so the stories they have is the success of the program. We kind of do background stuff, but they're in it with them face to face, so to say. So certainly do appreciate that. So Keith, I will let you start introducing and giving the stories and what matters.
So like I said before, this team does 18 appointments a week per person. So approximately 300 people they touch a week. That's a lot of people. Some people can be not wanting much help and stuff. They have some rough ones, of course, which if you've ever done a RESEA, you know that. But there's a lot of people that they have helped get jobs, get training, get resources. And that's what I wanted to focus on, is those successes. And they have, I don't know how many stories they got a ton of stories. So they're gonna basically talk about, introduce themselves, and they're gonna talk about what they do and what successes they've had or dealing with those customers. And we'll start with, right here, James Butler. You go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is James Butler. I'm just a benefit associate, and I support all those that are looking for work, education, and training. I help a lot of people, some people that just need more services, some need less. I think someone that I do come across, a member of mine, was somebody that moved into the area of the Arnold and was just moved in and lived in a hotel, and they didn't have a car. So we sit down on Google.
Speak up a little louder, James, please.
Can you hear me?
For the room, just
Oh.
a little louder.
I helped someone that by looking at, because they didn't have a car, we got on Google Maps and we worked out a map of what jobs would be closest to the hotel they're living in. And we figured out, we found a job for them at the local nursing home as a housekeeper, and that was the success for to help, and also got them plugged in with the Jefferson Community Action Center and also with St. Patrick's to help with food and able to get them, along with also getting, they were not aware of other social services, by helping them, getting them connected with the programs within food stamps and also within Medicaid if they needed those, to help them to get them back to work sooner.
We'll just pass that.
Thanks, sir. My name is Jeff Beanick. I've been working with RESEA for a while. I guess one of my last appointments, louder, even louder?
Use your big boy voice.
All right. Jeez.
Yeah. If you want to stand up, face the
Standing up.
Really?
turn, yep.
My name is Jeff Beanick, and I've been doing RESEA for a while. And one of my more memorable appointments is, she was an older citizen, older woman. She'd been working at a bank for approximately 30 years. And she came into work one day, and HR stopped by her office and said, well, you know, thank you for your service, but you're no longer needed. Walked her out with security guards, the whole thing, boxes. She thought it was over. She thought it was completely over. So I was kind of, you know, walking her through that, and no, it's not over, and most employers are going to look at your background and say, you've got a lot of skills and a lot of loyalty. They're going to be fighting over you. Eventually, she kind of believed me. I took her through the MAWD app and showed her how she can look for the jobs that she wanted, because she, at this point in her career, she only wanted part-time. I showed her how easy it was to find part-time work. And by the end of it, she was pretty much calmed down, found her some jobs that she wanted to apply for. So she was pretty happy with that. The appointment ended, and a few days later, when I had some time, I actually called one of my old contacts and set up an interview at a local sheriff's department. Got her the interview, and she was hired. And she contacts me regularly, and she brought me some cookies, and which, you know, I enjoyed. But she just wanted to say thank you, and I appreciated that. But that was probably one of my more memorable ones. So that's that.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Emma Pritchett. I have not been with the RESEA team very long, but I have worked in the job center and I have had lots of appointments. My outlook day by day is every appointment is a new opportunity to help somebody in a different way. And we deal with a lot of people that are in really bad situations, and if we can just shed some light on that situation, then I did my job for the day. So that's how I look at every RESEA that I do, everybody that I talk to. What is something that I can help them with that just sheds a little bit of light on that?
Hi, I'm Wanda Ross. I work remotely from home, of course, and I work with the St. Louis County. And mine's kind of a unique story. It's more what it done for me. I'd worked with a gentleman last August. Mr. Howard was his name. He was Air Force, had been in the Air Force, and was looking for a project management job. Didn't think I could help him, you know, had jobs lined out, had interviews. Mo Jobs was being really slow, so it was like filling that gap. So of course thanked him for his service, and had still waiting for MAWD jobs to come up. So I told him, I said, well, my daughter and I had planned on going to a retirement party for one of our friends that was retiring from the Air Force after 25 years. The catch to it is, my son had enlisted with the young man that was retiring. We'd lost my son, and so our friend did not get to come back for the services. He was in South America. And so I kind of shared a little bit of that, and he's like, are you from Western Missouri? And I'm like, yes, but I didn't tell you that. You know, I'm thinking that. He's like, is your friend in Whiteman? And I'm like, yes, thinking, I didn't tell him that either. He was actually serving with our friend in Ecuador. He goes, I know that story. I've heard that story. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, trying to keep it together, trying to, how can I help you now, you know, after all of this? He ended up, I asked him if I could share that story with our friend, and he said absolutely. So went on, and MAWD jobs came up, and ended up he did find a job in project management as he wanted. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to help him with that, but he was successful in finding his job. He kind of loosened up a little bit after that MAWD job's not working and being able to visit a little bit. We went home I went home the other room that evening, and I thought, oh, I need to call Travis, our friend, and let him know about this. And when I called him, he goes, what took you so long? This gentleman had already called him and said, hey, guess who I know now? I thought I was going to get to meet him at this retirement party last month, but he wasn't able to make it. But still a good connection. There was more for me than him, so this is good for all of us. I've met several people online that there's been a connection to somehow, so it's good for all of us.
She also had an RESEA with a Olympian
Gold medalist, yeah.
I'm Helena von Seckendorf. I've been with the Job Center for quite some time and then made the leap to the virtual team. Very excited to do that. I've got 3 different items to share, and so I'll try to make them quick. One was for a person, they had actually already been doing Coursera services from reaching out, wanting to skill up and things like that. And here they're finding themselves in a period of unemployment, but then they didn't realize that they could reinvent themselves even more beyond that, and so was able to connect them with WIOA, Voc Rehab, and MERS Goodwill to further their goal process and things like that. They were unaware there was additional partners, so that was exciting. The second thing is Talify is out there helping marriages, believe it or not. So I had this one individual, I encouraged them to take the Talify assessment, and they called me back and shared a story about how they took the assessment. It was later in the day, and all of a sudden after they took it, they were going to their wife, who was trying to get the kids settled down for the evening, and saying, honey, you were right. This is actually the way I communicate. Oh my goodness, I can do interviews better now and understand why you say I need to say things differently and things like that. And they were just so thrilled over the moon on it. It was really cute to hear them go on, and their wife was like, I know, honey, you know, I'm trying to get the kids down. We'll talk about it more later. But they were just going on and on. They were just so thrilled. The third thing is I'm in the Branson area here, and actually at our event here, I got to meet 2 people that I've served through these appointments that were so thankful and over the moon excited about all the services that they get through the job centers. So just know that all of us in this room make a difference.
Hello, I'm Leisha Horton. I cover primarily KC Northland area. So my specific, or I don't have a specific success story that I wanted to share. I just wanted to say, generally speaking, you know, each day I'm looking for that success to be, for that person to come out on the other side of it and say, this was better than I expected. thank you for doing this. We're so happy this program exists. I think that's really important, as a public, we're public servants and this is what we want to do. And to be able to say the state of Missouri takes care of you and we really do want that. I think that's that first step in building those longer term successes.
I am Deb Spicer. I have been with the RESEA team since August of 22. I am a product of RESEA. Gets me a little emotional. June 2022, I found myself in a situation with 3 children, unemployed. I had my interview with Scott Sloan out of the Rolla Job Center, who took the time and made a huge difference. Spent the next month going back and forth with him, talking about these new positions on this team that was rolling out. We just really connected. He helped me spruce up my resume, walked me through all the different steps that of now what I do. I got on the team. I remember training for 2 days and then being left at Fort Leonard Wood, and Keith had to leave, and I was like, this is way above me, but I got to figure it out. And I did. Some of the hardest appointments that I have had are people who are in overwhelming situations, but you can make a difference by taking the time and just listening, being empathetic to their situations, and being able to offer all the great resources. Everybody on this team is more than helpful. I can reach out to anybody in this team, and it's never a judgmental, you should have known this, or it's never that. It's always willing to help the client that we have, and because of that, I feel like we are one of the best options. I mean, this RESEA team is amazing. My recent success story, I have many of them, not only myself being here for the last, going on 2 years, but I had a very difficult client, the kind that when you talk for reminder calls and stuff, you sweat because it's like, whew, this is going to be an appointment. I actually spent the time with the gentleman who had been in a position for 28 years, was extremely stressed out because he now didn't know what to do, hadn't been in the workplace to be looking for different jobs, and didn't really know how. And so I was able to share with him all the resources that we have in our folders, and just took the time to just also listen of what he was going through. He had a child with developmental disabilities who was an adult that he had to provide care for. Really was not aware of any of the resources, and so I was able to offer him all of those. And by the end of the appointment, totally different person. The amount of stress that you feel was lifted off that situation and how it became something productive is why we do what we do. And I'm just so thankful to be a part of this. Even in my own life, as I've gone through stuff, this team has been here for me. And so I appreciate this team. I believe in what we do, and I know that we make a difference. So.
We love you, Deb.
My name's Carol Gibby. I worked in the Joplin Career Center for 23 years. I told Keith I was opting out of this. If the customer can do it, so can I. I've been on the RESEA team, the virtual one, since April 1st. It was my last, was a year, so I've been on here a year now. I guess the most memorable one recently would be I had a lady that I talked to on the phone, and she was real teary, and you could tell she was crying, and I asked her what was wrong. She lost her husband 6 months before that, lost her daughter 3 months after her husband, and now she thought I was going to take her unemployment away. And so I discussed with her very quickly that that was not what I was there for, was not to take her unemployment away, but to help her. And she was getting interviews, she was doing all that, but she wasn't getting the job. And after talking to her for a while, we probably talked for a week on and off, and found out she was putting herself down during the interviews because she didn't feel like she could do it. And so when we talked to her, I told her to write down stuff, affirm herself what she knew how to do and go in with confidence. And she called me back a couple weeks ago and said that she got the job. So.
My name's Stephanie Roberts. I was a case manager in the MAWD Job Center for a number of years before I began with this team. I've been here since the beginning, so we've seen a lot of changes, a lot of new people added, which is awesome. I have an individual that I worked with probably not too long ago, about a month and a half ago. Her call and her support started with our reminder call. I called her and she was worried she had done something wrong, what was going to happen, was she going to lose her benefits, and she was crying because her appointment was at the same time that her one of her parents was having to go for a medical procedure and was worried because she could not do the appointment at that time. So we made a little bit of adjustment, got her moved to a little later during the day, but the same day, calmed her nerves. And when we did the appointment, we talked, what kind of things she was looking for. She was concerned because she had been doing a job that required some certifications that she didn't have. So she didn't know that she was going to be able to move into a similar position when she got hired somewhere, or hopefully got hired. So we talked about those. We talked about looking at jobs that were similar in nature, but maybe didn't require those certifications, because she was really anxious to get back to work quickly. Talked her through some interview skills, some tips and whatnot, and she called me 2 weeks later. She nailed an interview she went to, was hired on the spot for considerably more money than she was making before, so she was thrilled to death with what happened during her appointment and the results of our assistance.
Hi, I'm Chris Hale. I've been with the virtual RESEA team for about a year, and like everyone said here, it's an amazing team, the work we do, we're able to do. We all ask each other questions all the time. We're so supportive just to get our services out to the customers we're working with the best we can. I have a little bit of a different success story. Last week I was talking with an employer. He had laid off his employees. I was doing a work search verification, and he was like, thank you so much. He wanted me to thank unemployment. He wanted me to thank everybody. He said the wraparound services that we provide is amazing. He's out of the St. Louis area. And then I did let him know, I said, your employees are looking for new jobs because you didn't put a callback in there. He didn't know anything about a callback. So he was like, thank you so much. But he did want me, I told him I was going to be coming to this conference and I would let everyone know that he really appreciated our services. And that was an employer.
My name is Karen Van Meter, and I work remotely with the Northland, Kansas City area. I was also in that job center once upon a time, and I've seemed like I've been in job centers since forever. But I had an appointment where I, called the individual for appointment after a reminder call, and we went through the process, completing all her activities. And she mentioned that she had an interview that afternoon at 3:30, and this was an 8 a.m. appointment. And bless their hearts, my 8 a.m. people, they're always kind of sleepy. So I give them a little moment. And she said she had an interview that afternoon, and she goes, she was a little nervous, and so I had done workshops previously, resumes, all those workshops I taught for about 10 years with a partner agency through the state, and then I came to the state. And so I just very quickly talked to her, gave her some coaching on that because she's a little nervous. And I always say to any person that I talk to, when that time comes and you go back to work, send me an email with this information, and I'll do Joe got a job dance, and I always say it's a bad visual, you wouldn't want to see it. and so I went on with the rest of my day, and at 4 o'clock she emailed me and said, I got the job, I start tomorrow. And when I was ending the day, doing the last minute little things you have to do, I thought to myself, this woman woke up that morning unemployed, and she went to bed employed.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I am currently covering the Kansas City full employment council area. I actually started off with this team doing Kennett because I was at the Sykeston Job Center, and then before that I was with partner staff. So I've kind of seen it from every point of view, whether it's helping the employers, helping the customers, helping other staff. This job has been the highest impact job that I've had so far, because sometimes we kind of forget the people that we're helping, because we help so many of them every day with this particular job. Even at the job center, yes, we had a lot of people coming in, but with this one, we're like in their business. Like we know everything that's going on, and even though we might not remember them every time, they remember us. I can't count the number of people that I've had who have either cried on the phone or yelled at me or whatever the case may be, but you kind of just hope for the best and, you know, move on, hope they take what you've taught them or what you've told them. But I'm actually just gonna read something that, because this is the most recent success story. She said, "Hi, Caitlin, I just wanted to reach out and thank you for your help during our RESEA appointment. You were very kind, patient, and provided a ton of helpful resources and knowledge. I also wanted to apologize for the tears. I was processing a recent loss of family member on top of the unemployment situation. You handled my hysterics with grace and offered help. I appreciate your efforts so much. I also wanted to update you that I got an amazing job. I just started. It's part-time, but it's for an organization that has a beautiful mission. I did reach out to the Department of Labor because that employer was very bad, to report my old job, but was unfortunately informed by Brenda that they kindly could not help. I'm still going to file a complaint, though. I hope you find many joys and success in life. You are a true gem. Kind regards, Jennifer C." And to be honest with you, that took me by surprise because I didn't remember her. I didn't remember until she sent me that email, and I said, oh my gosh, she was the one who was crying. She was the one who the employer disappeared off the face of the earth and didn't give her her last, I think, 3 paychecks. So she worked for free for like 3 paychecks. But they have a complaint on them right now. And that's something else that we do with our team. We don't just help the claimants and the employers. We help the state, because a lot of the people that are claiming could either not be real, could not actually be looking for a job. You never know. I had somebody pretend to be somebody else. A husband pretend to be the wife because they were both on unemployment. And I had to do a virtual appointment just to make the wife do the appointment and not the husband. So we help a lot of different ways, and that's why I do appreciate this team. That was it.
Oh, yeah, everybody waiting on me, I don't know why. Good morning, my name is LaShonda Robinson. I've been with the RESEA team for a year, March 1st. I was formerly in the Sykeston Job Center. Plenty of you probably have seen my name in case notes. Don't hold it against me. Because I did trade for years for the state of Missouri, but I love being on the RESEA team. A lot of us get to impact a lot of people that have been laid off. I've helped hundreds, but being on the RESEA team is different than doing a mass layoff, because I get to see these people one-on-one every day, 4 people every day, sometimes virtually every day. Seeing their face, hearing their stories. I get successes every day, so they were like, what story is she gonna tell today? Because my goal at the end is employment. So if they go back to work, that's my goal. But I also tell them that I'm in this with you, because I just don't say you're on your own. What can we do to get you back to work? So my latest one, he really didn't want to do the appointment. He said, I woke him up. It's 1 o'clock, sir. You should be up anyway. It's what I said. Because, you know, sometimes you get them, he's like, what are you doing? You keep calling me. Okay, I'm keep calling you because you have an appointment at 1 o'clock, sir. And so I'm going to be the one that's going to do your RESEA today. And so he woke up, and she said, sometimes we wake him up at 8, sometimes it's at 1. He really didn't want to do the appointment, so we go through the appointment. I explained that everyone gets one of this appointment. He was like, yeah, you coming to take my unemployment away. And I said, no, I'm coming to help get you back to work. And sometimes we have to let them know that we have been in a place where they were, because some of us have drawn unemployment. If you've never drawn unemployment, then you don't know. until you drawn it. And so I let him know my circumstances because I was part of a layoff. Yeah, I didn't do anything wrong, and guess what? He was laid off. Sometimes you have to let them know that you have been where they were. And letting him know that I had been where he was, helping them create the resume. We talked. He was like, well, what I do now is not what I was laid off from, was not what I really wanted to do. I worked for the city of St. Louis because I covered the Slate Job Center usually. That's who I am now. I was a floater doing everywhere because I can. Because if you have done unemployment, you should be able to get anybody back to work, just not where you're located at. And so we talked. He was a correctional officer for the city of St. Louis and had been let go. So he said, but there's not jobs out there. So we have this resource. We got all kind of resources and tools. So we pull the hot jobs list. We pull Mo Careers. But we also have a tool called ONET. And so we use ONET, and we did a job search. But then we also have a resource called Mo Jobs that we fail to use every day. And so we got on Mo Jobs, and I did some notifications and referrals to him. And ladies and gentlemen, if we're not using Mo Jobs, we're failing ourselves because we got him a job. Not only did he call me, because I always tell them when you get a job, as Karen said, call me, let me know, and I'll celebrate with you. But I actually do because I have a whistle that I blow. I actually will do the dance. Yes, because we did at our job center. We would celebrate. We would take pictures. We did all of that. And I still do that at my desk. I still got my whistle. And when they call me, I blow it. I do all of that because I'm nuts. But anyway, he called me. He said, Miss LaShonda, answer me. You're not answering your phone. I'm trying to give you good news. I was in a RESEA. He wanted me to stop right then. So once I got the RESEA done, I called him. I was like, Antonio, what's going on? He's like, you won't believe this. That job that I lost, they want to hire me back. But while I was emailing you and you wouldn't pick up, I got another job at SLU, and it's more money, and that's the one I took. But you referred me to that one too. So needless to say, they don't remember us all the time, but when you pouring yourself out there, they will remember. He remembered. He said, I had forgot all about you until I got this job, and you was the first person that I told. And so that makes me feel good that if I can't help all of them, I can help one person. And if we can help one, we can get the state of Missouri back to work.
That will be a hard act to follow. My name is Joe Roach, and I'm from St. Louis, and I originally started at the Slate Job Center. And right now I do coverage for the whole state, depending on who's on vacation and things like that. So I cover the whole state. I don't measure my successes by individuals, but I measure it every single day, like many people have said, because at the end of every one of my interviews, I ask my client, and I call them clients, not customers. I ask my client, did you find this useful and helpful? And 99% of the time, the answer is yes, because we've handed them tools. And you all know about the tools. You know, Mo Jobs. The thing that always surprises everybody the most is when we introduce them to ONET. And it's like, look what you can do with this tool. You can cross-reference your skill sets and all of that. And so that's where I measure my success, is at the end of every interview, did you find this useful and helpful? And they say yes. My colleagues have talked about how we have to deal with all kinds of different personalities. And one of the things that I have to remind myself at the beginning of every interview is, and you all have heard this, I know the mindset of the person I'm about to call because I've been in that situation. First of all, they're feeling isolated because their friends are going out to the movies or traveling or whatever it is. They don't have cash flow, so they can't do that. Or a kid comes up, Mom, can I go with? I can't afford it right now. And so they feel that sense of isolation. The other thing that they feel is rejection. Because every time they open up their email, there's either nothing or thank you, but no thank you, we'll continue looking. And we have to be empathetic to what those individuals are feeling every time we answer or pick up the phone to call, especially when we get the, I don't want you to help me. I know how to look for a job. You're not taking my benefits away. And of course, we all do the same thing. That's not what this is about. We're looking forward with you, not what's in the background. And so that's how I approach this. And I find it very useful and incredibly rewarding. And I know my colleague is going to tell you how I got to this position. I suspect, yeah. And I've been with here, it'll be 2 years in January, and I calculated it just before yesterday after I finished up another appointment. I have done 1,236 appointments.
My name's Julie Biggie. I've been with the RESEA virtual team since December, and prior to that I was at the job center in Independence, Missouri as a RESEA person. So I've been doing this for quite a few years, and it's changed and evolved over time. I would like to say that several reasons that this team is doing so well, is because of our leadership, our management, and it's also because we work together. We're self-managing. We know our jobs, but we also know what these people are all about, what their worries are. We're good at empathizing with people, and we're just wanting to help them. I think we really get a reward ourselves when they feel better at the end of our appointment. Mm-hmm. And, it's just also about communication. Our team communicates with each other constantly, and we're not here to put each other down. We may make fun of each other on WebEx at times, but we have to get through the day somehow, because sometimes it's pretty stressful. But one of my success stories has not been with my current candidate area yet. Still working on that. But was at the job center last year when I talked with a woman who had worked for the same company for over 20 years, and she was laid off. They didn't have a lot of prior notice with the layoff. She had a teenage daughter who was all about trying to look for the next boyfriend. And she had a young son who was trying to learn in middle school, but having some issues. And she had a great work ethic. She was always there in her job. But as we all know, we can still be laid off, even though we're performing at the top of our game. And so she had a bachelor's degree that she had achieved within the past 5 years in HR management, and our workforce development partners just had an opening for a career placement coordinator. And so I told her about that, helped her apply, which she did well on her own, and worked with the workforce development person in our office to help stay on top of her application, and she interviewed and got the job. So she's still there as our workforce development coordinator, our career placement coordinator is what she is. But I think, ultimately it's just, I don't take this as my success. I really think it's all up to that individual. They are the ones who have to want it. And we're just giving them the steps to get ready to the next step so that they can get that job that they truly want. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bridget Grace, and I actually started with the Job Center back in 2009. Temporary job for the RES program. At that point, it was working with unemployment claimants, so kind of gone full circle. But why would I take a temporary job? And yes, I did lose that temporary job. But fortunately, the next day I got hired by the partner agency, so I never left. Then I've experienced layoff too, because state of Missouri did layoffs. And yesterday I was speaking with Yvonne Wright, And she said, you know, we almost lost you, Bridget. And I said, yeah, for 2 days I was laid off. But I got my job back because I had a coworker that gave up her job so that I could come back to the job center. But I told her, you wouldn't have lost me because look at me now. I'm going to go. But the one thing that I wanted to share was back in 2009, I just remember them saying, you know, we take the holistic approach to these customers. So not only have they lost their job, but what's going to get them back to work? What's preventing them? What's those barriers? So whether it be housing issues, childcare issues, transportation, or my favorite is the disabilities. Because one of my stories that I always tell is a success story was a guy that was just nasty to me when I did the reminder call and cussed me out, just got madder and madder and madder. But lo and behold, during the appointment, when we got to the question of disabilities, well, he said he was autistic. So it brought light to that. So then we talked about disabilities, and that's always my favorite section when I get to that question. If they even hesitate, then I say, well, let me just let you know about this partner agency that we work with. And the idea is to help you get back to work, help you be successful in work, help you advocate for those accommodations that you need, and just to let them know about those services that are available. And so that brings success. But another thing I wanted to talk about too was just with getting people to work. So Chris, she was in the Arnold Job Center. So part of our job is partnering with those job centers that we work with and the customers. So not only are they getting services from us, but do you need to use a computer? Well, guess what? You can go in person to use a computer. Maybe, you know, the resume help that I'm giving you virtually. Well, if you need more work, go into that Arnold Job Center and get that help. Well, Chris emailed me and she said, you know, there's this opening for the virtual team, and isn't that what you do? So I hesitated because I'm like, dang it, I'm losing all my good people at that Arnold Job Center. I'd really love for her to come to my team, but man, I don't have anybody good to work in that job center anymore. They're all leaving, going other places. But then it turned around because I did have an appointment with a customer and she already had the interview. So she can't be my success story, but she had the interview already for the Arnold Job Center. So like, this is my chance. So I talked to her about interviewing skills, and this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to highlight. And I'm going to email you all this information. I'm going to give you job descriptions. I'm going to tell you how to do your skills to match that job description. And lo and behold, next thing I know, hello, Arnold Job Center, this is Kimberly. Well, guess what? She got that job. So now I not only took a good person out of my job center, but I put somebody back into that job center to help me. So that would be success.
Kind of got my, I'm going to stand over here by Julie. Ooh. All right, my name is Melissa Downs. I began with the original six-pack, as we called it back then. That was in May of 21. So I got laid off because of COVID in January, end of January, and then 2 weeks later I have a meeting. I get the email from unemployment, and I'm like, what? What do you mean I got to do this meeting? I've never drawn unemployment in my life. I've worked since I was 14 years old. I was a mean, mean woman. For a solid week. And I can remember being in Jeff City and Jerry Bowles is like, come on, Melissa, I know you were calling it a stupid meeting. I'm like, oh my God, how did she know that? Because that's all I referred to it as. But I knew mandatory, and mandatory meant you better be doing the meeting. So I get on the phone with Sheila, which I live over here in Ava, so I was down at West Plains. Of course, it was virtually because of COVID. And she's going through my history, and she's like, well, Melissa, what about doing something totally different for the state of Missouri? And I'm like, I don't know. What you got in mind, Sheila? And she's like, well, something like I'm doing, but it's going to be permanently remote. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, Sheila, I'm probably pretty interested in that. We end up getting off the phone, and I was sitting there thinking, man, this morning, I'm going to have to eat some crow with my husband because all week long he heard me say stupid. So he gets out on the deck that morning and he's like, hi, okay, baby, have a great day, like he does, you know, all that mushy stuff. And I love you. And he didn't say I love you. And I thought, well, that's kind of odd. He gets all the way over in the driveway by his pickup on the other side of the pickup and he's like, have fun at your stupid meeting. And he runs and jumps in the pickup and I'm like, So then whenever I called him at lunch, I said, you're never going to believe this. He's like, you're going to apply, aren't you? And I'm like, absolutely, I'm going to apply. So my meeting was at 9:30 on a Wednesday morning. That register was closing at midnight on Thursday. So sometimes that old saying of where your roads cross, my heart, I love this job. Love, love, love this job. So then I'm about into it about a year and a half, and I've got this cranky old guy who's willing and dealing with me on his appointment. And I'm going, okay, man, if you're going to be in California, you know that physically available every day? Oh, I ain't going to claim that week. I was like, okay, just let you know. So we do a reschedule virtually, and I get to meet Joseph Roach. And we go through his spiel, and we get to the end of the meeting, and he's like, you know, Melissa, seriously, I've done this kind of retail management all my life. If I could just go in and do my job and go home at night, and have good health insurance, I would be ecstatic. And I'm like, I'm like, well, Joe, kind of outside the box here, but you know there's an opening. And he ended up applying, and he obviously got it, and he has made a great teammate, I assure you. 1,000% spot on.
Now, I had applied to be at the job center and that job, but Mr. Swank goes, oh no, that was mine.
So,
That was help from me and
yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to kind of reiterate on what all the team has said. So we look at every day, every appointment as success. Whether you get a grouchy one, you get someone that's making $900,000 a year international baking. I'm going, what am I going to do with you? I mean, or just like the one yesterday morning that I did, 23 years with the same place, ended up being office manager. And guess what? Does not hold a high school diploma. So she took an hour and 40 minutes yesterday because she really wants that help. And that's what we're here for. Thanks, guys.
So I wanted to show the light on this team, and it's not only this team, it's about those customers that we serve in job centers, partner staff. They're probably all walks of life, they're employers, or maybe at universities, or, you know, all those people have stories and have barriers, have issues, have whatever you want to call it. They need that person to say, how can I help you? Was this useful? Was it helpful? Being that ear and being that person that actually picks up the phone or talks to them virtually, we do a lot of WebEx appointments. This team does a lot of WebEx appointments. And it's they get a lot out of that WebEx appointment because you're able to share your screen. They can even share their screen, and you can walk them right through MAWD jobs. So if we can get them to WebEx appointments, it's huge because they get a lot out of that appointment. They're able to learn right there with you. Instead of you just saying, oh, this is what's in MAWD jobs, this is right, we're going to go over your resume. They can actually not only see it on your screen, they can actually do it on theirs, and you can walk them through it. So WebExes are a huge thing that we do. This team is very successful. They do a wonderful job. And you know why they do a wonderful job? You probably saw it. It's because they're all compassionate. They're very compassionate and very empathetic and wanting to help people. So I wanted to talk about their successes and what they do and basically show that as that's what needs to happen in job centers, and if you're an employer, if whoever you're with, having that ear and listening to whoever you're dealing with, because you don't know what they're dealing with or where they're coming from. Having that, being able to be empathetic, having compassion and saying, what can we do? Giving them those resources. And there's going to be those people that say, you can't help me. I don't care. You're going to have the no's and you're going to have the cussed out and the rough people, and you're going to have that. But you know what? You don't know where they're at and what's going on in their life. So if you actually just give them those resources and give them those tools and help them along the way, you can change them. You can change those people. They will call you back. I have people calling me still. Well, like Elena was saying, we ran into 2 people that we both worked with, and Alicia. We worked with those people, and they're working right here. And what did they do? They ran right up to us. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. Thanks for helping me so much. The job center's awesome. That's what you want. Not for us. It's a very rewarding job for us, and it's very rewarding for the people to get that.